I think negative Giants fan has been pinned into a corner. You got to compliment somebody. How is it happening? They're 61-49, and those perceptions I just threw out there I think are real. I don't think they're across the board. I don't think everybody looks at it this way, but we know what the reputations are. The roster, talent deficient. The manager, a weirdo. The general manager, a cheapskate nerd. And the ownership group, cheap and politically controversial. That's what we've got. And
61-49.
And some of that is all fair, and some of it may not be, but 61-49.
Those are all subjective judgments, and I think the one objective thing is what you're saying, 61-49. So it's fascinating when you posit the question of who gets the credit.
Who gets the credit?
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 Well, the ownership gets, I'm going to give them none of the credit.
Okay.
Other than the hiring of the people who are actually doing things, because I don't think that the owners, and apologies to Larry Bear, friend of the program. I've known Larry for years and years. I don't know what materially he's doing to lead to 61-49. I would give the credit. It's probably an even split between Farhan Zaidi and his team and Gabe Kapler and his team, because it's not just Gabe and Farhan. It's the pitching coach, the bench coach, the hitting coach, the catching coach. Patrick Bailey's been amazing, and Blake Sable is learning on the fly how to be a catcher. So it's not as easy as Farhan and Gabe, but for the sake of the conversation, let's just say Farhan includes Pete Patilla and everyone else scouting and everyone else in that side of the building, and Gabe Kapler includes Alyssa Nakin and every other coach and assistant coach and hitting coach and bullpen coach and all the rest of them. So for me, when it comes down to the divide of it, it's 50-50, because Farhan has created a roster while starless. I won't say talentless. They don't have any frontline stars, but they've got 25 usable pieces, lefties and righties, righties and lefties. I do this, you do that. And Gabe Kapler, through the guidance of Farhan Zaidi and through an unbelievable amount of communication and presence and focus, he deploys those 25 players in just the right way.
Yeah, the hard thing for the argument is there are data pieces that totally blow up some of what people say. And if we just want to spotlight Gabe Kapler, for example, he's one of them, right? Oh, you got this crazy manager and the players are all mad at him. Okay, so if that's the case, and you also think the Giants are short on talent, then how do you get to 61-49? And what I would say about Gabe Kapler is, because I do hear that, the players, they don't like this. And some of them have said it publicly. Alex Wood has. Sean Manaea certainly danced in the neighborhood of it with us the other day. And so that's fine. Is it a parent's job? Is it a boss's job to always be liked? Or sometimes is it their job to make a hard decision that is for the greater good? One of the things I loved that we heard from Cap this week is that he openly stated, I know that some of my players don't love this. I know that. But they've bought in. And that hit me, the parent. That I understood. That I got. Right? Like, hey, everybody's phone's off, 10 p.m. Get your butts to bed. Do they like that rule? No. No, don't like that rule. They're going to follow that rule. You're going to buy in. It's going to help, right?
But you're going to communicate that as a parent.
Absolutely.
You're going to say, this is the rule, and you're going to explain why it's the rule, and you're also going to explain that this is not a negotiable situation, and then they're going to follow it. So for Gabe Kapler, it's, you're Jock Peterson. You're not going to face lefties except for certain situations. So when a lefty comes in, you're not going to face the lefty. And Jock says, okay, I mean, that's all right. You know, he may want to face lefties, he may not, but he knows it's the rule, and Gabe Kapler has communicated that. And so when a lefty comes out and Jock Peterson is walking to the on-deck circle and Cap goes, come here, Jock, he understands it because it's been communicated. And that to me is the key.
Jock.
Sorry. No, I need more of it. I'm a huge fan of it. The communication is the key to all of it. Sure. And I think that's where Gabe Kapler is elite.
888-957-9570. Who gets the credit? And by the way, how have your thoughts on Gabe Kapler, the manager, sort of evolved? When we threw out the question earlier this week, do you trust Farhan? Handful of people responded to me and said, no, he hired that guy Kapler. And I was like, you mean the manager of the year from 2 years ago? Who, I don't know, might win it again. He might win it again. Like, would he not be on the list? I mean, the Braves, if the Braves, Dodgers, and Giants end up with the 3 best records in the National League, who's the world going to look at and go, well, I know who did the most with the least. He might win it again. If he wins 2 of these in 3 years, are you still honestly going to cruise around with, yeah, the manager's got a hand tat, and he talks about burgers on IG, and his players don't like him. The whole idea is to get the buy-in, and that's what I see with the Giants. Here's another thing that's a piece of evidence, and people say this, but I think you can tell when it's genuine and when it's not. You hear, and I know we've had a bunch of players on, these guys love this clubhouse. Maybe not Gabe all the time, maybe not the roles, but you can tell you've got a group that's vibing with each other, and does the boss not get some credit for that? Again, that's his job. We focus so much on, he took out Luciano. Like, sure, there's that side of it, which is analytics, which they're doing everywhere, by the way.
Yeah.
But the real job, Steve Kerr, Phil Jackson, we talk about it in the NBA all the time. Keep this group from imploding. Will you keep all of those emotions that they're inevitably going to have, these millionaire competition gurus? Will you keep them from killing each other and actually make this fun and make it a great environment? Dude, green check.
For all 3 coaches in the Bay Area. And I think that is the most underrated part of managing when you're managing multi-millionaires. And that's why last year, and not to get bogged down in what happened with the Golden State Warriors, but that to me was a moment where the management didn't do, and it's easier to look back now.
No, but it's fair.
In the moment, I actually was critical, so I feel like I can speak to it, but they did not manage the problem to where it got solved. The problems that they had preseason ended up dogging them the entire year. Baseball's a unique one because you do spend every single day with one another, with the exception of today, an off day. You'll have some guys, filtering in maybe for BP or treatment or training or whatever, but today's a day where you can get that space. And football is another tough one because you've got 53 guys, all alphas, jacked up, muscular, sweaty, and stinky
hitting
in one,
each other.
Yeah, in one room, and you've got, usually, with apologies to Dan Campbell, but you've got a smaller guy coming in, like, who has to command the room. So I think what Kyle Shanahan does in terms of owning the locker room,
same thing,
is impressive.
Vibes have been amazing there for years.
So for Cap, it's a little bit easier in terms of he's done it, and he's a presence, but you got to do it every single day with a multitude of different cultures and beliefs and all the rest of it.
It's interesting, too. There's always that dynamic, I think, with players of, did my coach play?
Yeah.
So Shanahan, not at the NFL level, but, a football family, and he did play at the collegiate level. Steve Kerr played NBA at a high level. Gabe Kapler.
All-time leader in three-point shooting percentage.
There you go.
Gabe
Kapler was never a great, but played for a long time with a lot of teams, right? So there's that sort of, I think, respect and understanding that's baked into it. But at the same time, if I asked you, take those 3 and be like, are all 3 of them, quote unquote, one of the guys? I think that's one of Gabe's biggest challenges. Kyle is totally one of the dudes. Steve Kerr, a little bit less so, but yes, he is, I think, former player, understands it. He's in. He's one of the guys. Gabe is such a different cat that I think maybe for some of the guys, he's one of the guys. And I think for other people, they look at him and they're like, this guy is like with dripping burgers on IG
and
a website and talking about how he fries an egg at 3 in the like. What the hell is this dude?
Literally dripping with flavor.
He's on GQ. Like it. He's got to battle that to a degree.
I don't think so because of his unbelievable work ethic. He's always grinding over everything. Is the impression I get.
But does that make him one of the guys? Like sometimes I think
it earns him that respect.
Respect, yes, but one of the guys. You know,
I think
he's
what
different.
makes him one of the guys is if he decides to throw on a tight shirt and get into the weight room. Then it's like this guy's a monster.
Oh, he totally does that.
So he's one of the guys in terms of let's lift. You know, like today it's an off day. I biked 17 miles just to get here, and now I'm lifting.
Do you need a spotter?
Exactly. Yeah. So from that standpoint, he's absolutely one of the guys. And I think with this Giants clubhouse, he has a great knack of letting the veteran leadership lead. Like Brandon Crawford sets the tone in the clubhouse with the music, and Kapler, you know, he lays out the plan, and he sticks to it. He doesn't jack guys around. You know, Sean Manaea may think differently, but, you know, Manaea, you're going to pitch today. We don't know when. It's not going to be the first inning, I can tell you that. So be ready.
Yeah, 888-957-9570. I wonder where everyone's at on that. And actually, even just analytics as a whole, we've had this conversation for such a long time, but I wonder if people have gotten to the point where you're like, look, it's kind of like for years, us National League fans are like, no DH. Come on, man, no DH. About 4 or 5 years ago, I'm like, let's give that fight up. I mean, of course it's coming. You can just see it.
Yeah.
And now it's here, and you don't hear anybody belly aching about it. Like, are we there on...
I miss watching a pitcher go down in 3 straight.
Yeah, wasn't it great when Johnny Cueto, wouldn't even look at the pitcher?
Yeah.
He would just be like, I'm kind of in the batter's box. Can we get this over with? No, you don't miss it. Same thing here. This is what every team is doing. I get the little aspects of it that might bother you if you've been watching baseball for a long time, but once you catch up to the idea that not only does it work, you'd be left in the dust if you weren't doing it, why are you still letting it make you mad, in other words?
It's because it's change, and we're used to things a different way. We're used to, you're my starter, and you're going to go out there and you're going to get a quality start. Remember the quality start stat?
Oh, my gosh.
Which was
new, 3 runs or less.
Yeah, which was new in and of itself. That's not even a thing anymore.